to have yours in the company of friends.
It's always on.
Good morning, and thank you for choosing CCFm this Thursday morning. Joining us via StreamYard, we've got Mr. Nico Kleynhans, and he's talking to us about some of those big life decisions that you need to make, and particularly many people doing so at this time of the year. Nico, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you. We are making 5 new appointments this month, which means I have to read lots and lots and lots of CVs. And one of the jobs we are looking for is a qualified accountant. And that accountant has to have the appropriate license to complete the work that is expected of him or of her. Now, one of the candidates who applied has an MBA. He obtained this particular qualification around 20 years ago. And as we began to talk, and it was a good talk, he's a friendly fellow, and I think we got on quite well. He provided me with a list of 22 items that he had to complete every time the board met. He was the chief financial officer. Once a month, the board met, and he had to provide analysis, information, so that the board could make financial decisions. Now, for that, he needed an MBA. And I then realized, looking at this 22 items, that today my interns who've done a 3-month course on Xero can produce those 22 items. Simply because the packages that we use today use artificial intelligence. And now the skill is within the software. All you've got to do is provide it with the raw data, and the accounting software can do what he did and needed a phenomenal degree. So our conversation with him was to say, if you're going to get back into the job market, you have to take into account where technology has gone. And to be competitive, you're going to need to do some professional courses. And those courses can be done within 3 months. And in South Africa, if you choose the course correctly, it will have the same weight as an academic course. So we actually make it easier for people to catch up if they need to bring their qualifications up to scratch. Now, why this is important for me is because we've got thousands of stay-at-home moms who had thriving careers and then had to take time off to have their kids. Now the kids have grown up, or they're older, they're more independent, and mom has to decide, should I return to the job market or not? But the problem is, in the last 5 or 6 years, technology hasn't stood still. Now, employers who are looking for a certain age group want the maturity that comes with age, but they also need the skill set that comes with where technology has moved. And so if you're one of those moms who wants to get back and your job was office-based, you were able to multitask, you're able to do 6 jobs at the same time, and you don't get into a flap as a younger person would get into, then you should be considering maybe you need to do a Microsoft course. Because if on your CV, you can say, I've done this course and I've done that course, and particularly spreadsheets. Today, we all need spreadsheets. And if your employer sees, or your potential employer sees, well, if this person comes into the job, she's going to be ready within a month because she's got the experience we want she's understood where the technology has changed, it's worth giving her a chance. And why that is important is because if we take on as employers somebody who's got almost qualifications, it can cost us 200,000 rand to get them up to scratch. So if you are in that position and you want to go back, take a look at your CV again and see whether you can't update something, because it does affect the attitude of your employer. Now, for those who respond to adverts, do you even read the ad carefully? Because sometimes people are so desperate to get a job, they read one word and they send a CV in. And when we then go through that CV, it's clear the person didn't read the advert, and the CV goes straight into the basket. It doesn't improve your chances of getting a job by sending out 40 CVs. It would be better to send out 10 where you've actually read the advert and tried to change your CV to make it obvious that you've read the advert. So if I get a CV that says you were looking for this skill, I have it, I would then look at that CV far more creatively than I would normally do. Certain words avoid passion. Oh man, I don't know where we brought that word from. I'm not interested in somebody who's passionate about something. I'm looking for somebody who's committed. Passion doesn't suggest committed. And then particularly for new CVs, we often get, I'm a team player, but I can work independently. That's a contradiction. It takes a different kind of a person to work as a team player and to be able to work independently. I looked at one applicant who has had 4 jobs in 4 years. So I asked him, why do you change jobs so frequently? His response, which was honest, my career is more important than the job I'm taking. So he's off my list. Why should I employ somebody who's jumping jobs to get an increase, and within a year I've got to start that exercise all over again? Now I want to make a comment for those who are going to do some studies, and I'm going to be taken off the Christmas card list of all the TVET colleges right now. I address hundreds of students. Some years I take 4 interns like this year coming. Other years I take 12, depending on what my finances can cope with. But the purpose every time is to try and give that person who's done their first 1.5 to 3 years an opportunity of exercising what they've learned. So my obvious question is, why did you do this course? In 90%, the answer is, it was the only course available to me the day I appeared at that college to fill in my form. And what people now are telling me is that they're so desperate for education, they will even study a course which they didn't intend studying, hoping that somehow education is going to be a solution. I'm horrified that that kind of wastage happens. If you have a particular course in mind and you can't get in that course, and you then at a split moment decide a different course, why? What is your plan? What are you going to do with this new course? I also feel that a lot of these courses are completely out of touch. The syllabus is dated. It does not comply with the needs of employers. And the education department is repeating the same thing over and over and over again. So you need to spend a lot of time on that first day when you sign up. What the decision you make that day can affect the rest of your life. Now, let me tell you, I went off to university to do an auditing course. I was the first one in my family to get past matric. In the final year, after the Easter exam, I decided I never again wanted to be an auditor. It took me that long to realize the fact that I enjoy working with figures didn't make me an auditor. And I then announced to my family I was leaving university. I further announced I was going into full-time Christian work. To make matters even worse, I spent the next 15 years working without payment. So I do understand what I did, and I do understand what a lot of youngsters do. Folks, at the end of the day, it turned out fine for me. And I guess it turned out fine for me because I was submitting to God, and God protects. So those of you who are going to study, please choose your course carefully. Choose even your second course. But don't just jump because at a moment's notice, somebody sitting behind the desk said, that's all that's available. And then you make a 3-year commitment, which is not necessarily what you want. Have a good day.
Nico, thank you so much. Really appreciate your input and your wisdom. And thank you for chatting to us. God bless.